Good guys, and welcome back to another episode of the WeSportin podcast. I'm Nico, and I'm here with my amazing co-host Drew. Drew, say what up.
Was good. How y'all doing?
And today, guys, we're gonna break down the divisional round. I cannot believe we're already in the divisional round. Seems like yesterday we were in the wild card, and it seems like we were in week one. Now we're here in the divisional, trying to figure out who's gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, I mean, shit, it's been a fun ride. It's been a long season. We didn't even think that we'd even get this far, to be completely honest. But yeah, we'll jump right into the divisional round. But first, how'd we do with our picks for the wild card round?
Yeah.
I mean, I went 5-1. The one game that I got wrong was the Pittsburgh game. Nico went 4-2, with his misses being the Seahawks Rams game and the Titans Ravens game. So yeah, hopefully I'll be looking to build on my one game lead, and Nico will be looking to just catch up a little bit.
Very true.
So in this episode we'll be bringing all four games, and we'll just jump right into it. The first game slated to be played this weekend is the Los Angeles Rams going to icy cold Green Bay, Wisconsin to take on the Packers. And Nico, why don't you start this one off? What do you think is going to happen in this game?
Well, I feel like this game right now, the Los Angeles Rams are going in here a little banged up a little bit after that Seattle game, no doubt about it. I mean, you have Jared Goff coming off of a thumb surgery. He came in there, didn't really throw that much against Seattle. Now has to go in there and play a very, very good secondary for the Packers, no doubt about it. Then you have Aaron Donald on the defensive side, who's been he's been battling injuries. I mean, he had that rib injury, I believe, in the second half of the game against the Seattle Seahawks, where he was having a hard time. He would come in and out of the second half, and he would come in, come out, try to play some snaps. Didn't really do that much. And then you got Cooper Kupp, who has a knee issue. I mean, Cooper Kupp is a really big focal point for that offense for him. Now, for one thing that I think Green Bay needs to stop this game is they need to stop the run game of the Los Angeles Rams. They know Jared Goff ain't going to throw that ball. They know he ain't going to throw it that much. He threw 98 yards, I believe, against Seattle. He only threw 98 yards, 9 of 18 of passing, a touchdown. I mean, you really need to look at it. He's going through a lot. I mean, his thumb surgery is really hurting him, and losing people like Cooper Kupp, but still having guys like Cam Akers, Darnell Henderson, Malcolm Brown. I mean, you have these guys who stepped up in that Seattle game and it just torched the secondary. So I think one thing the Packers do need to look out for this game is they need to look out for that Rams run game, because right now that Rams run game is hot, dangerous, and they could destroy.
See, here's the thing. I agree with you. The Packers definitely do need to key in on the run, and they definitely will key on the run because John Wolford has been ruled out. It is Jared Goff playing quarterback for the Rams on Saturday. And yeah, the Packers, but when the Packers do focus in on the run, they have proven that they can stop good running backs. I mean, they limited Derrick Henry to less than 100 yards in the snow, and they limited David Montgomery to only 60-ish yards for the Bears. And those are two 1,000-yard rushers.
Mm-hmm.
Derrick Henry's a 2,000-yard rusher. So I think when the Packers have been called on and their defense is vastly improved from the start of the season, their run defense isn't as much of a liability as, past postseasons will tell you.
Yeah.
However, they still do need to stop Cam Akers because Cam Akers is a very explosive running back. But let's not forget the true battle here. Aaron Rodgers versus Aaron Donald and Devontae Adams versus Jalen Ramsey. That Packers offense ranked number 1 in the NFL, and that Rams defense ranked number 1 in the NFL. A clash of titans. And here's the thing. The Rams defense is very, very good. But you know what? I'm going with my Packers. I have to go with my Packers. And let me tell you why. You can't stop Aaron Rodgers. You can only try to slow him down. And I have no doubt that Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams will be slowed down, but it won't be enough to overcome, especially considering that I have faith that my Packers defense can lock down this Rams offense, especially in the cold. It's supposed to be around 25 degrees at kickoff, maybe a little bit of snow on the ground here and there. It's called the frozen tundra for a reason. And quarterbacks, especially Jared Goff, have struggled in the frozen tundra. See, now here's an interesting stat. In freezing cold games since 2016, Jared Goff is 1-1 with 0 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Let's keep in mind that the Rams, they're in Los Angeles, sunny California, and they play in a dome. They're not exactly prepared for the elements. Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers since 2016, 10-0, 26 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, like, yeah, their defense has let them down, but the Packers have averaged 28 points per game on offense when Aaron Rodgers has played in the postseason. And that's through a large sample size. It's through a lot of games, year after year after year of being in the postseason. So, I mean, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, they have the experience. They have the offense. They can shut down the Rams offense on defense. I'm taking the Packers here. It's pretty clear cut.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, if the Rams are not good to go with Jared Goff, they did sign Blake Bortles to that practice squad. But it's just I think that Rams team.
But are we really worried about Blake Bortles?
Blake Bortles is 2-1 in the playoffs. Just want to put that out there.
This is true, but I'm not worried about Blake Bortles. I'm certainly not.
Yeah, no, 100%. I do believe though that the Green Bay Packers, to them, if Donald's out and they can stop that run defense, the run offense of the Rams, I'm taking Green Bay. I can't believe you said that on record too.
Yeah, I'm glad. Thank you for not, speaking out of your butt this time.
Yeah.
So the next game on the slate will be taking place after the Packers-Rams game. It will be the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Buffalo Bills, which will be a very fun game. You got 2 young quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. You got 2 very explosive offenses. Josh Allen and the Bills, they're a very good passing offense, number 3 in the league, and Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, the number 1 rushing offense in the league. I feel like it's going to be very explosive. It's going to be a very fun game to watch. And Nico, who you got here?
Well, here's the thing, guys. I'm not a Lamar Jackson lover. If you guys saw in the last episode,
clearly, if you watch the hot takes, go watch the hot takes. I said Lamar Jackson was the 4th best quarterback in the league, and I got laughed at, even though I thought I provided a pretty good argument. So, but yeah, Nico Hernandez is a known Lamar Jackson hater. Anyways, continue.
I'll tell you why. Here's the thing. There's one thing that I did see improvement on in that Buffalo game, and that one improvement was Josh Allen, 100%. I mean, he has improved so much over the last year. He's improved since he lost in the first round to Houston. I mean, like this season, we saw a new Josh Allen. We saw a guy that we've never seen before, and that was, that's one thing, that Josh Allen proved to us. He proved all the haters wrong, and I really hate to use that reference, all the haters wrong, but he proved a lot of doubters. I mean, yeah, we all knew the Bills were going to be the number 1 seed in that division, but nobody knew how good the Bills were going to be in that number 1 seed. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, people were like 10-6 and the power rankings 10-6. They finished 13-3 this season. I myself, I wish I could be a part of Bills Mafia, because here's the thing: the Buffalo Bills, I just think they're at home.
Here's the thing, Nico. You would love to be a part of Bills Mafia. That is perfect for you, because if anybody will absolutely just full send it on fire, jump through a table, it's you.
True. And here's the thing. I mean,
you're crazy enough and stupid enough to do that.
I'll think about it. But here's the thing. One thing I do see, and then one thing I believe we didn't see in the Tennessee game, is that Hollywood Brown, Mr. Marquise Brown, I believe he got 7 receptions, 109 yards receiving, and then but he's going up against the Titans secondary, who's been kind of rocky all season. They did get Desmond King, but besides the point. I think they've been a little rocky all season long. I believe this is the Baltimore Ravens' true matchup in the playoffs. This is where it's going to prove if Baltimore is a hit or miss. You're going up against a team like Buffalo, who has I think they have an elite secondary with Tre'Davious White, Levi Wallace, Josh Norman, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde. I mean, that's a group of guys right there. And, Josh Norman, I can't believe I said him, but Josh Norman actually hasn't been bad on that Buffalo defense either this year. Nor has any of them at all whatsoever. And I do believe that it's going to play a big role on Lamar's throwing this Sunday. And we're going to see how good Lamar can really do on the pass against the really tough Bills secondary.
See, that's the thing that you said, Lamar Jackson and the pass. If there's one thing that we've learned about covering Lamar Jackson and the Ravens on this channel, is that Lamar Jackson and the pass, they don't exactly mesh. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, the Ravens, the number 1 rushing offense. They're last in terms of throwing the ball.
You're not going to run to the playoffs, Drew.
but that doesn't matter. They don't need to be able to throw the ball. Because here's the thing about this matchup. Baltimore is very favorable on both sides of the ball. This is a very favorable matchup. Let me explain. Let's start with Baltimore's offense versus Buffalo's defense. If there's one thing that I saw in the wild card game, Buffalo versus Indianapolis, is that Buffalo consistently lost up front and in the trenches. And when you have the number one rushing offense and they run most of the time, you need to win those physical battles on the line. And Buffalo just didn't do that.
And they held Jonathan
And if,
100 yards.
I mean, but it was supposed to be a blowout, and they only won by a field goal, and Indianapolis had chances late to win the game.
The Colts aren't bad though.
That's what I'm saying, but neither are the Ravens. And I think we could both agree that the Ravens are better than the Colts. Anyway, I digress. Let's continue, okay? So not a great matchup for Buffalo's defense there, all right? On the flip side, Buffalo's offense versus Baltimore's defense. Baltimore's defense, I believe, is the most underrated in the league, all right? We saw them stop Derrick Henry 40 yards rushing, okay? And the thing about Buffalo, they're very, very one-dimensional. Who do you know who their leading rusher is, Nico?
For who? Buffalo? It's
Buffalo. It is Josh Allen. All right. Devin Singletary, Zach Moss. And in the wild card game, Josh Allen by himself outran both Zach Moss and Devin Singletary combined.
Well,
okay.
Moss went down with an injury.
That's true. That's true. Okay. But that's like that. Let's not ignore that Josh Allen is their running offense. Josh Allen is their throwing offense. And with a very good defense like the Ravens, I feel like they can really stack up and put pressure on Josh Allen and stop him, because let's not ignore how good the Ravens secondary is also. Marlon Humphreys, All-Pro. Marcus Peters, Pro Bowler. You got guys like those on the outside that can stop guys like Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley. Maybe not stop.
But those guys on their team, does that make them underrated though? They're clearly not underrated if they're in Pro Bowl.
But here's the thing though. When we talk, I say they're underrated because when we talk about the top defenses in the league, I have not heard Baltimore in the conversation all year. And I think they definitely deserve to be. I have not heard Baltimore's defense get enough credit, or at least that's me. Maybe you talk about the Baltimore defense as being one of the elite ones in the league, but I certainly haven't heard it. So that's why I call them underrated. Okay. But the thing about Buffalo is that they're very one-dimensional and they will only go as far as Josh Allen takes them. So, and can Josh Allen beat a really, really good Baltimore defense? I don't know. So if we have a bad matchup for the Buffalo offense and a bad matchup for the Buffalo defense, I'm taking Baltimore in this game. All right. This is a game that Baltimore can win very easily. I have them a bit. Oh, that's not my hottest take yet. Just you wait. But I got Baltimore in this game. The matchup favors them. I'm taking them.
All right. So you're going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to save that for another episode, but I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. I think Josh Allen has now proven that he is no longer, and I hate to use this word, but like he's no longer scared. He has those jitters out, and now it's just let's see the Josh Allen show unfold right in front of our eyes.
Well, let's see how well Josh Allen will do on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And now we advance to the first of the Sunday matchups.
I'd like to open it up.
You'd like to open this one up?
Yep, with the Tampa and New Orleans, right? That's what we're going to talk about.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Great, cool. Yeah, New Orleans is going to win that game, everyone. I just want to prove this right now that
Oh, that's right. The Buccaneers beat his football team. I forgot about that for a second. So it only makes sense that Nico's going to come out hating the Buccaneers. Right. Yeah. Of course. I forgot. My bad.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let's just look at all this real quick. We have Tom Brady versus Drew Brees, everyone, for the third and maybe final matchup of their careers.
Probably final.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Drew.
The final battle of this game is being called.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Drew Brees ended up retiring after this year. I mean, it wouldn't shock any of us. But here's the thing. I personally think with a guy like, and I'm not trying to bring up my Washington football team. I just would like to prove a point. A guy like Taylor Heineke, who came out there, who was picked up week 16 against the Carolina before the Carolina Panthers game, comes into the playoffs and has a field day, like his own career field day against the Buccaneers defense. Don't be surprised, everyone, when we see Drew Brees probably have one of the best playoff games he's had in his career in the last 5 years, maybe 10 years. I'm just saying that secondary, for instance, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers has kind of collapsed throughout the season. They started off very strong, and I do believe they started off very strong. And you have linebackers like Devin White, Levante David, Shaquille Barrett. I mean, you have guys like that, but when you look at that Saints offense and you look how deep, and I believe me and Drew spoke about this, I think last week, the Saints are a deep team. They're deep.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
The Saints have one of the deepest, most talented rosters in the NFL. And Nico, I agree with you. The Tampa Bay defense, they absolutely 100% kept it too close. And no disrespect to Taylor Heineke whatsoever, but in his second career start, to have the day that he had against a Tampa Bay defense that, their front seven is very good, but their secondary, not so much. But for Taylor Heineke to keep it that close, I have my doubts about Tampa Bay. I mean, I agree with Nico. I have New Orleans winning, but I don't think it's going to be to that extent where Drew Brees absolutely lights up the stats.
It's going to happen. I'm calling it.
I don't believe he's going to light up the stat sheet, but I still think he's going to come out on top.
Here, guys, I'm going to predict the stats right now for Mr. Drew Brees, okay?
Oh, boy.
I want you guys after this game to watch this, and I want you guys to be like, dang, this kid was right. I'm projecting Drew Brees to throw over 280 yards and 2 touchdowns, plus 2 touchdowns, 280 plus 2 touchdowns.
That's not that bold, man. I thought you were going to go higher.
300?
I thought you were going to go a little bit more bold, like out there and just be like, oh yeah, 350 and 4 tuds, because you're saying that Drew Brees is going to light up the stat sheet. 280 and 2 tuds isn't exactly doing that. It's a good game, but not the best of Drew Brees' playoff career. But I digress. Nico and I agree here. We're both taking New Orleans, and let's move on to the final game.
I also would like to talk about this one as well, but I know you have something to say because we spoke about this game earlier in the week.
Of course I have something to say. This game, in my opinion, will be the most entertaining of the divisional round. You have the red hot Cleveland Browns versus the defending world champion Kansas City Chiefs. The Progressive versus State Farm Bowl.
I forgot about that. That's so freaking weird.
Yeah, Progressive and State Farm. Yeah, the insurance bowl.
Basically.
Baker Mayfield versus Patrick Mahomes. This is going to be a very, very entertaining matchup, and it's the one that I can't wait for. For a multitude of reasons. But I'll let Nico break this down first. Who do you have in this game, Nico?
Let me speak on the game, and then I'm gonna tell you who I'm gonna pick real quick. Because when I speak on both teams, I'm not gonna be biased and pick one or the other. I'm gonna give my honest opinion on both of them, and then I'll say who. So
as you do.
Yeah. So guys, last week, for the Cleveland Browns,
you picked the Browns.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was actually one of my picks.
And you correctly picked the Browns. I tip my cap because that is the one that I did not pick.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I like the Cleveland Browns. Right now, I'm on that Cleveland bandwagon. Like, I want to see Cleveland succeed over and over. I want to see.
We all do. America does. We love the Browns. Go Browns.
Yeah, basically. Let's go Browns. Let's go Jarvis. But here's the thing. So last week we saw them without their head coach, Joel Bitonio. Yeah,
Joel Bitonio and Jack Conklin, 2 Pro Bowl offensive linemen.
And Denzel Ward, guys.
And Denzel Ward.
That team, with their key guys and even their head coach, which me and Drew, I think, spoke wild card weekend, that their head coach is way more important than a quarterback. And we saw
a head coach is very important to get it right. A good coach can overcome a lot.
Yeah, very true. But guys, when I tell you, because I did not watch that game, I was sitting actually over there, and I was looking at ESPN, and I got an ESPN notification, and I'm listening here. I'm like, 28-0.
Yeah,
Cleveland.
28. Yeah, 28-0. You're floored, and I'm just like, oh my
I
goodness.
was like, hold on. So that made national news? Like, I was like so confused on how that.
Absolutely, it made national news because this doesn't happen to Cleveland. All
No,
right, these types of things don't happen to the Browns.
not
It's
at
an
all.
amazing story. All
Yeah.
right.
So here we go now. Let's just break it down real quick. First game, first of all, I do believe that the one thing that the Cleveland Browns have over Kansas City's heads right now is a run game. And you guys are probably thinking, oh well, Kansas City has Clyde Edwards-Helaire. No, that's all.
Nobody's stacking up to that Cleveland
No,
run
no
game.
one's
Except for maybe Baltimore, but like,
no one, no one. You don't have people sitting here and just talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Absolutely not. You have people sitting here talking about how Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt could potentially, and I'm saying could potentially because I am not.
They're just a two-headed dragon.
Yeah.
They're thunder and lightning.
Yeah,
all right, how you gonna stop them?
You can't. And that's the thing. You can't stop him. We saw Kareem Hunt get 2 touchdowns on the ground. We saw Nick Chubb getting a little screen pass off of Baker Mayfield and basically just torching them. I think all it really is going to take, and this is going to be my hot take for this Sunday, if the Browns want to beat the Kansas City Chiefs and knock off the defending champions, you got to run all over them like it's nobody else's business. All they have, and I am not saying that Chris Jones is bad, but if you guys down in the comments can name me another D lineman on that Kansas City Chiefs team that can sit there and who can stop Mr. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, yeah, okay, cool. Maybe they could. But here's the thing, guys, it's not going to happen. I'm not saying I'm picking the Cleveland Browns because I still need to talk about Kansas City, but
all right, we'll talk about Kansas City. The people want to know who are you picking?
That's hard because
who are you picking, Nico? Because I got a lot to say about this game. Okay.
Here's the thing: Kansas City's been on a 21-day break, so they haven't played football since the
Yeah, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill. They last played December 27th. 20-day rest. All right. See, rest can be a good thing for a football team, but too much of it, right? You get out of your rhythm. You have rust. You start really slow, and the next thing you know, Cleveland's up a couple touchdowns. And this fun fact for everybody, Cleveland is 10-0 this year, leading at the half in 10 games. All right. Like they have not lost when they've had a lead at halftime. And yeah, we saw last year that the Kansas City Chiefs can overcome a 2, 3, 4 score deficit.
Mm-hmm.
However, if Cleveland has a big enough lead, they're not going to choke it. They haven't all year. I don't think that they're going to now.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to give my pick, but I just want to say beforehand is that I only say this pick. It's because I'm just going to go with my gut.
What does your gut tell you?
Cinderella stories are always good, but Cinderella stories always have to come to an end. And I think this Sunday we're going to see Patrick Mahomes beat the Cleveland Browns in the second round of the divisional, and I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs. As much as I hate to say that, guys, I really do, but it doesn't look like it's in their favor.
It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible, and it's not in their favor.
No, it is.
That doesn't mean they can't win.
No.
Meanwhile, I'm over here. I'm going to take the Browns, and there is a way for the Cleveland Browns to win. All right, and it is like you said, running the ball down their throats. And another big part that you didn't mention, clock management. Control the time of possession.
I don't think Kansas City can stop that, though.
Keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. If you keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline and you force him out of his rhythm, you just pound the ball down their throats and you get a lead, they can win this game, because if it comes to a shootout, Cleveland can't hang with Kansas City in a shootout. I don't know if there's anybody in the league that can. Okay. And I don't think it's going to be a blowout either, because Kansas City hasn't won a game by double-digit points since November 1st. 10 weeks of single-digit victories. All right. So they've clutched them out. And Kansas City in December, they've looked less than adequate. Patrick Mahomes has not looked that good. They beat Atlanta by a field goal. Atlanta holds the 4th overall pick. Week 17, they rested all their starters. They let Justin Herbert and the Chargers put up 38 on them and beat them.
I do have a
So,
question for you, actually, Drew, and
what's up?
this is a big question here.
What's up?
If the Browns end up coming out of this game as victors, do you see them in the Super Bowl?
Maybe.
If they let me say this, they will. Okay, if let's just, I'm going to talk hypothetically. If they beat
Maybe.
Chiefs,
Who do they play? Who do they play in the AFC Championship game? First of all,
it would be between either the Ravens or the Bills. But if okay, for the easiest Super Bowl route for them, they want to play the Ravens because I think
no, they don't.
Yes, they do. They can beat the Ravens.
No, they want to play the Bills, man.
You think they want to go and play Buffalo if they win? Are you what?
I do. No, I think I would.
Buffalo should no. I would still have them play Baltimore just because they're more familiar with them, and the Bills are a whole new game plan.
I'm just saying from like an offensive standpoint, if I'm Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, and Kareem Hunt, I would much rather see the Bills front line than the Ravens front line. But that's just me. I mean, you're comparing two explosive offenses. Like what we said earlier, the Bills are an explosive pass offense. The Ravens are an explosive run offense. So for Cleveland's defense, hypothetically, it's either or. But if I'm a running team and I have a chance with either the Ravens or the Bills, who do I want to play? The Ravens match up very well against the run. The Bills do not match up as well against the run. So that's why I would much rather play Buffalo. But I digress. I'm picking the Browns to win, all right? And people are like, oh my God, Kansas City's a 10-point favorite. It's in Arrowhead. It's Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. This has happened more frequently than you realize. And I can give you 5 historical examples within the past 10 years of a team and with a good quarterback and a good head coach favored by 9 or more points at home, losing in the divisional round. All right. 2010, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick host Mark Sanchez and the New York Jets. The New York Jets went on to advance. 2011, the Green Bay Packers and the New York Giants. Green Bay 15-1, favored by 10.5. New York advanced. 2013, Peyton Manning hosts Joe Flacco and Mile High Denver, favored by 9.5, I believe. Joe Flacco won. 2017,
miracle when Flacco threw it to
That's right, Jacoby Jones.
Yeah, Jacoby
That's
Jones.
right. 2017, Ben Roethlisberger versus Blake Bortles and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Ben Roethlisberger heavily favored in Heinz Field. We all know what happened next. Saxonville Abbey won that game. And last year, Lamar and
Do you agree that Jacksonville versus Pitt game was the biggest joke? I think that game was the collapse of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You know what? That's a story for another day. We can do those what ifs in a different episode, but let's continue on. All right, last year, Baltimore versus Tennessee, and this is the quintessential example, okay? Baltimore 14-2, MVP Lamar Jackson at home versus the Tennessee 9-7 Tennessee Titans, all right? With Derrick Henry, a great running game. And what happened? Derrick Henry ran it down their throats. Tennessee mauled them. I'm not going to say that's what's going to happen here, but Cleveland can definitely win this game. It has happened before, and those who do not learn from history are bound to repeat it. And it's happened to the best of us. I just listed off Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Lamar Jackson. It's all happened to them. It can very realistically happen to Patrick Mahomes. So Odell Beckham Jr. said it, and I'm going to say it. Don't be shocked if the Cleveland Browns beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's a hot take right there. I mean, I'll say that much. I mean,
but that's my hot take for the week.
I even told you, like I said, I am not against the Browns. I'm not against the Browns. Like if the Browns would have won that, it would go on to win this game. I'm not going to be upset. I would be happier because I would rather see them succeed. But if we're just
America loves the Browns. America loves the underdogs, and Cleveland really deserves it.
Oh yeah, true.
The city of Cleveland has put up with so much, and now they finally get to stomp on their big brother, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And what better way to continue the Cinderella story by going into the house of by going into, the big red machine, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and shocking the world again and beating them. Then they probably get another matchup where they're underdogs. Then imagine if they just make the Super Bowl. How crazy would that be? That would be an
Insane.
amazing story.
I mean,
Nico, you think it'll stop this week? I think it'll continue for one more week. But that's why I'm saying this is going to be the most anticipated and exciting matchup of the weekend. I cannot wait to watch the Browns and Chiefs play.
I can't either, and I think that's going to be the highlight of this weekend, and I do think so as well. But with all that, it has to come to an end. So, thank you guys for watching this episode of the NFL podcast and oh my God, the WeSportin podcast. Jesus, I can't believe I messed that up. Yeah, so we're gonna be back on Monday to recap our games this week. We're gonna see if Drew was right, if I was right. We're gonna break it down for you guys on Monday, and hopefully, I'm doing better than Drew after this weekend because Drew, you are leading in our picks, aren't you? Right?
Yeah, I'm leading by one game.
Yeah, you're leading by one game. I went 4-2. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you guys would like to, like and comment, subscribe to it, that'd be great. We have more videos as well of me and Drew. And if you want to see me and Drew's hot takes, it'll be down in the link below. Thank you guys for watching and peace.